What is going on, guys? Bombson87 here, and I'm back for the Williams career mode on F1 2016. This is part 3 now for the Chinese Grand Prix. This is the career mode where we're trying to take the Williams F1 team to formal glory. We're going to try and win the Drivers' and the Constructors' World Championship, myself and Valtteri Bottas, as I haven't been able to do so for the past 20 years in the sport, which is a heck of a long time, really. So hopefully we'll return Williams to a formal glory. But anyway, for today's episode, we are at the Chinese Grand Prix. We're just looking at the RD screen now. As you can see, we're 4th in the leaderboard, though we're not far behind Red Bull at all. So hopefully, if we get another upgrade on the car, we can actually leapfrog them. And I believe we are going to select another upgrade during the practice session for this Grand Prix right now. For the next one, for the rest of the Grand Prix, obviously, as it obviously won't be here in time for the next one. The upgrade we selected is a fuel injection system, so that means we can run in rich mix for much longer during the race, which would be much more helpful when it comes to race pace. But anyway, we're now skipping on to the Quali 1 results, and as you can see, we got through into qualifying 2 without any fuss, really. It wasn't actually a great lap either, so looks like we have fairly good pace this weekend so far. And we tried a little bit of a gamble for Quali 2. We're going out on the soft tyres. Hopefully we can set a good enough lap time and get through quite comfortably, which means we can actually start for the race weekend on the soft tyres, and then maybe that means we can do one less stop. So here we are at the end of the soft tyre run. This is one lap, and we actually set a fairly decent lap, I reckon. We come 3rd place right now, and we actually finished the session in P9 behind the front-running Red Bulls, Mercedes and Ferraris. Of interesting thing to note is my teammate also made it through to qualifying 3. So here we are in the final qualifying session, qualifying 3 now, bolting on a set of super soft tyres, obviously, as the FIA actually give us one set of spare tyres just for qualifying 3. But anyway, it's our first lap of the session, and I love it going through the first corner. I used to hate it on previous F1 games. I think that's when I was running assists and stuff in auto gears. But I just love the way you can throw your car into turn 1 and turn 2 even on the circuit. Now we're powering out. We got great traction actually out of that snail section corner. Going through the rest of the first sector now, we're going towards a tricky hairpin corner. Got to spot the braking point quite nicely. Look at the front left, but quite nice. I think we went into first gear as well there for a brief second, just to slow the car down. We got a purple sector as well, so hopefully we can maintain this for the rest of the lap. And now we're going to the final section of the lap. We brake very, very late. We go into first gear, lock up both front tyres. So that was literally as late as you can dare on the brakes there. Now I go through the final corner. Bit of an error, went on the curb on the outside on the entry, and that cost us a bit of time. So it wasn't a great end to the lap. I think that both Sector 3 and Sector 2 were green, whereas Sector 1 was purple. So it's going to be 6th place in the session, which is not bad. It's pretty good. Our aim was to beat Valtteri Bottas and claw back points in the rivalry challenge, and we have definitely done that. We smashed him by 0.3 of a second, actually. And to be honest, we could have gone faster, but oh well, points aren't for qualifying, and we can hopefully claw it back during the race and during the starts as well. Obviously, AI aren't known for their quick starts on this game, unfortunately. And there you can actually see in the rivalry challenge, we are clawing back points massively here, as we got set a much faster Sector 1, 2, and 3 time, and of course the overall lap. So we're now only 3 points behind in the rivalry challenge. Rivalry challenge actually nearly over, so we've got just this race to beat Bottas, I believe. Or I might be qualifying in Russia, might be going down to, but we need to beat Bottas very soon. That's definitely a priority for this race. And as you can see also, we've gone from the red zone to the green zone on the team expectation list there. So that's good to see really as well. So now we're going to the race. Let's have a look at the expectations quickly before we do. And I bet it's going to be beat Valtteri Bottas and finish 7th or higher. So hopefully we can have a good race now, make up for Bahrain. Looks like we have great pace so far throughout this weekend. So hopefully we can transform that into a good result. Oh my god, it's raining. It's torrential conditions. Oh, it's going to be chaos. We have not done a wet race at all so far this career mode, so I'm not sure how we'll do. We did do a wet qualifying in Australia where we did, well, rubbish really. And I think I've done 1 or 2 wet races where I've sort of done decent-ish. But either way, I have no idea how well we'll do for this race. We totally planned it for dry conditions. We had good dry pace, in the dry obviously. And now it's going to be full wet tyres as well, heavy rain, so this is going to be really interesting. We're 6th on the grid behind the Red Bull Verstappen, in between the Red Bulls actually, behind the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Mercedes, as we get quite a delayed launch. For some reason our reaction times there wasn't that good. As you can see, we got massive wheel spin actually out of our grid bay, and that wasn't even full revs. So as you can see, the conditions are torrential, so it's going to be really tricky to maintain a good rhythm and find a good pace. And we're cutting a bit later in the formation up, as they made a little bit of a mistake. They ran into the back of Sebastian Vettel, and that is actually going to kick us out of the formation up. We didn't expect him to slow down there, and it was a little bit of an error by me. A simple error, a very easy error to make, as you can see now we're ghosting as we're going to pop to the side of the grid. And there we are, where actually we was kicked from the formation up, and now we're sat on the grid by ourselves. I'm actually surprised Vettel wasn't kicked out of this as well, as he had a collision with me, obviously. So now we're on the grid, focusing on the 5 red lights, aiming to have a good start. It's going to be very tricky with wheel spin in these heavy weather conditions. So lights out, and away we go. And we get our bucket load of wheel spin. We get a pretty poor start, well, poor initial start really. But luckily we maintain position from Bottas behind, as then we've got Verstappen ahead. He's looking quite slow actually through the first corner. We're going to dive up the inside of Verstappen, and we're going to have a Vettel as well. He just about leaves room there. He was going very slowly. We sort of had to just creep around, creep down the inside there really, as seeing if he left any space. And now we're going to hold it round the outside of Sebastian Vettel through this traction zone. It's very difficult to lose it, as we almost do there. I think there might have been a little bit of contact actually, but we have got the position ahead of Vettel now. That's a pretty good mood actually, and we almost hit the back of Raikkonen there as we lock up the brakes going into the hairpin. That's very easy to do in actual. That's very close actually. Lucky we got away with that, but now we're going through the rest of the first lap, just trying to get a feel for these conditions, trying to get a good rhythm for the car. Obviously the Williams isn't meant to be the best in the wet weather conditions. As we know from the past couple of years, Williams have often struggled in wet conditions, but we seem to have good pace at the moment. We're keeping up with Raikkonen very well, and the Mercedes aren't really getting ahead that quickly, are they? So we are still in the run here for a good result and to battle these guys for the rest of the race. You see him get stays wet, obviously. So now we're going through the first couple of corners there. This is just the second lap, so only a lap later we're going up the inside of Raikkonen just on pure traction alone. We are not running traction control, before anyone asks in the comment section below. The only assisted running is the one that you see on the screen right now, the racing line. As we get a set of purple sector, well, it's lap 2 obviously, but I suppose. See, it's very tricky still in these conditions. We've got wheel spin there and almost lost it. But now onto lap 4. We've got Nico Rosberg ahead, and he's looking pretty slow, pretty vulnerable to us. So we're trying to time it right, see if we can get past him. As we were looking for an opening there, was hesitating. We're thinking about diving down the inside into turn 2, but I don't think that's really going to work. It's just going to be more of a dive bomb attempt. But we got a much more wider run currently out this corner, so we've got better traction. We're right on the back of him. Are we going to have a look down into this hairpin now? We're going to go for the inside line and lock up a little bit. We missed the apex a little bit. They even got a purple sector. But more importantly, we've got the position ahead of him. No contact. Very fair, clean move. And hopefully we can pull away from the Mercedes now and catch after his teammate. But unfortunately, at the end of that lap, we lock up at the start of the third sector, and that's put Rosberg right in the back of us. You can see the double arrows there. Well, for single arrow now, but it was double arrows before. It means he's right on the back of us, and he's going to have good straight line speed as well. But then again, so do we. As I think the setup that we kept on for this weekend was a low downforce setup, and then Rosberg's going to be in our slipstream. We go to the middle of the road to hold it. Is he going to go on the inside or the outside? No, he hits us actually, and smashes way across the apex of that hairpin. And it's meant we lost a lot of time. So Rosberg's completely smashed us there from behind. And we're going to have a slow pan replay in a second to show that isn't our fault. We hold it in the middle of the track. We don't weave the steering wheel, and he just completely rams at the back of us. You can see it in the left wing mirror there. Unfortunately, at the end of this race, I forgot to actually look at the replay camera. So unfortunately, I don't have any other angles for you. But that's very unfortunate. Rosberg should have definitely got a penalty for that. In fact, I really hope he does, or at least a drive-through. But anyway, we're now coming on to lap 6. Some of the guys there are going to pit for intermediate tyres, as conditions are improving out there. But we're going to stay out another lap on the wet tyres, as I know I have a problem with tyre wear in the 2 races so far. So if we extend the stint, well, I'll make the next stint shorter, then hopefully that will help tyre wear later on in the race. That's my thinking anyway. As we just about, well, we actually go very cautiously into this pit lane speed limit there. I actually thought it was the first line. I've actually thought we sped into the pit lane for a second, but it was actually the second line was the pit limiter. So We lost a little bit of time there. We're losing even more time as there's 3 cars going past us. Although we have made quite a bit of ground on Rosberg, as he was also held by I think that was the McLaren and the Toro Rossos going down the pit lane. But I think that meant there was a Red Bull that went past, and there was no Red Bulls ahead of us before, so we have been jumped by, must have been Ricardo, I think, maybe. But Rosberg ahead is looking very slow coming out of the pit lane. We're going round the outside of turn 1, which turns to the inside of turn 2. And that's a good move, actually. That's a pretty decent move, if I do say so myself. Caught in the AI napping, really, as they were quite slow coming out of the pit lane, probably on cold tyres. But I think Rosberg actually had a slow pit stop, as I think he was changing the front wing from the collision with me, so I guess it serves him right, really. It was his fault. But now right in the back of Ricardo is an engine failure. So it wouldn't be a F1 2016 career mode really without an engine failure. Unfortunately for the Honey Badger, that has meant that the engine failure, well, the curse of the engine failure is on him for this weekend. As we're going through the conditions, we actually make a bit of a mistake there. It's very easy to make mistakes in the wet conditions on this game, and we almost got a tank slapper on. We just about saved it, but that's meant we lost probably quite a bit of time. And it's put Rosberg right on the back of us, so I don't think he's going to make a move. Unlike last time, we don't have to get smashed across the apex of the corner. So now on to lap 11, we're in 3rd place. So at the moment we're in the podium positions, and we're not done yet. We've got Raikkonen in 2nd place, who's looking pretty vulnerable right now, so hopefully we can get shape up a movement soon to get whip wheel spin going out of the corner, because we're pushing to get past him. We are not looking to hang around behind this Ferrari. Are we going to make a move here? Yes, we are. We're going to dive down the inside of the hairpin. This time we actually clip the apex, even though we lock up. So that was a fantastic move, as once again we set a purple sector time. So the first sector in China seems to be where we excel at, really. So there's no highlights now from that lap 11 to lap 16. We're now going to pit in for another set of Inter's tyres. Tyre wear is actually becoming a big factor, so we had to pit in sooner rather than later, unfortunately. And hopefully the track dies out for the remainder of the race. Otherwise we're going to do some extensive tyre saving for the rest of the race. As I have great pace, but unfortunately great pace also means that tyre wear is a little bit iffy. By the way, our teammate was in pits there behind us. Bottas having a terrible race so far. Is in the bottom of the top 10, so I'm not quite sure where he is. But either way, we look set to completely smash him in the rivalry for this weekend. As now we've got I think it's Kvyat and Alonso, who are on old intermediate tyres. We're going to get the jump and hit them. Obviously they're on old tyres, but about to pit. But Alonso completely just zooms past us on the inside, going into the pit lane. That completely shit scared us there for a second, as I thought he was completely wipe us out, as it made us go wide a little bit at the final corner. Lost a little bit of time, but more importantly, just thankful that we weren't wiped out by Alonso there, completely flooring it into the pit lane. But anyway, we're still in 2nd place in this race. Lewis Hamilton is leading the race by a comfortable margin, unfortunately. And unfortunately, even though we have great pace, we set the fastest lap of the race there, as you can see, on the fresh intermediate tyres, even though we lapped Jenson Button. We have great pace, but unfortunately with that like shunt with Rosberg earlier in the race and stuff like that, the gap was just too big and we couldn't catch up to Lewis Hamilton. So instead we focused our attention on tyre saving, and as you can see we're lapping quite a few back markers now, as we are effectively a leader in this race. But the track is only just now starting to dry up. It's now lap 27, and unfortunately we have a dilemma to make. Now we're going to show the tyre wear right now. As you can see, it's 74% on the front left. Now if you remember back to Bahrain, it hit 80%, and we got a front puncture. And now I'm very unsure that it'll happen again, and the team actually wants me to pit onto a set of super soft tyres. Obviously they can see the tyre wear and they're a bit concerned themselves. We've got a healthy gap behind for Rosberg, so we could have stayed out, but really I was just very worried about a puncture on the final lap of the race, which would have really ruined things. As you can see, it's 80%, which would have been massive. We were trying to preserve the tyres during the rest of that stint. We messed around with the brake pressures. We changed the brake pressures to the rears, see if that would help, and unfortunately the tyre wear was just a bit too excessive, even though we had a healthy pace over Rosberg and the rest of the cars behind. Now we're going to the final lap of the race, lap 28. We've got a set of dry tyres on. The conditions are very dry now, so hopefully we can catch after the guys ahead If you remember, Matt Marduk in one of his 2013 videos changed tyres on the final lap of the race and actually came through to win it. So we're going to try and copy him and see if we can gain loads of positions on the final lap from the AI struggling in the dry conditions on the Inter's tyres. First of which will be Max Verstappen, as we're going to look up the inside through the second sector, make a dive bombing move, but we have much more grip in these conditions on the super soft tyres. Much better pace advantage. Now I've got 2 cars ahead, but they are both back markers. Raikkonen in 4th place is about 10 seconds up the road, so it's going to be quite a tall order to catch him. That's about 6 seconds actually, about 6-7 seconds. So it's going to be a very tall order to capture him, as it's only really a straight now between us and the checker flag. Well, and a hairpin, and a few braking zones and stuff, but it's going to be very hard to catch him, as we now got DRS, thanks to Harianto there. We get slipstream for good measure. I mean, we need the AI to be really slow coming out of these 2 traction zones, out the penultimate and the final corner. But it doesn't look like they will be, and they're going for the final corner now. 1 more lap, and we could have got them. But it looks like we're going to go through the final corner now. We actually make a mistake and go wide. But even so, 5th place, kind of disappointing really. We were second for most of that race. We had the pace to be easily on the podium, and just the timing of things, just the tyre wear, unfortunately. We were just too cautious, and in the end we made the wrong decision. It's as simple as that, and it's pretty disappointing. We threw away a lot of points there, and we threw away a chance to get our first podium of the season, which would have been awesome to get, but well, there you go. It's racing sometimes they make the right decisions, sometimes you make the wrong decisions, so that's just the way it is. 1 more lap and we probably could have got at least both Ferraris. So I mean, there are positives to take away. We had great pace during that race, and we completely smashed our teammate, who was a full 30 seconds behind us by the checker flag, even with the extra pit stop for me. So I mean, there are positives to take away, and I think we're now going to be ahead, if not sort of very close to Bottas in the rivalry challenge. As we're going to have a look now, we're gaining. We've obviously finished ahead. I think we got a faster race lap time as well, as we're now ahead of Bottas in the rivalry challenge. We haven't won it yet, so it's going to go down to qualifying for Russia. See if we can beat Bottas in the rivalry challenge, and we actually gain more points as well, more positions in the drive position. But yeah, that was a good, clean race. I was very pleased with how it went until the final lap. So yeah, I mean, it's just unlucky really. It's just a poor decision. But that happens in racing, you know. You don't always make the right one. So guys, if you enjoyed that episode, then please smash the like button, please subscribe if you're new, and I'll be back for the next episode, which will be around Sochi in Russia. So I'll see you guys then. Palms out.